No, man. This program is intended for a mature audience. If you're not 18 or older, stop listening and find more age-appropriate content. Where are the batteries? This show will cover serious topics in a satirical manner. If you're offended by any content herein, that is your own problem. You've been warned. Don't try this at home. Or anywhere else for that matter. Ah.
Fuck her right in the pussy. Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, dearly beloved and sanctimoniously enslaved ass souls, welcome back to that late night culinary excursion that is Midnight Sushi!
Yeah.
So before I get on to the introductions, I'm going to get on with the people who help us keep this rather interesting show running. This show is brought to you in part by our favorite friends up in Vapewaukee, in Pewaukee, Wisconsin. Possibly the finest vape lounge you will ever find. They've got lines upon lines of the most fantastically delicious juices and salt nicks and alternative stuff. And oh my god, that hardware section and that clearance section. Woo! Everything from high end and low end and everything to make your significant other scream when they see the bill. But don't worry, pay them a little extra. They might actually just say, you know what?
We'll make that disappear.
Exactly. And, of course, today's episode is brought to you in part by our beloved friends in Resurrection Vapor at resurrectionvapor.com.
Go there.
Oh, yes. Thousands of, well, no, not thousands, but dozens of fucking juices, all homemade, all great, grand, and gloriously fantastic and delicious, and just fucking order that shit, all right? Available online or at your local brick and mortar. That's Resurrection Vapor at resurrectionvapor.com. And we'll get to the other ones on another show. And, of course, just to introduce the motherfuckers running this goddamn thing, we have our Dr. H.M.F.I.C, the tattooed wonder herself, Dr. Davia.
Heyo!
And, of course, me, by myself for once. Weird. The Geek Daddy. The patron saint of bad ideas and bad decisions and BDSM, Michael.
Yeah.
Wow, that's the first time I got the clap that didn't result in a shot later.
Nice.
Well, no, there was that one time I did an interrogation class in front of a few thousand people, and when I got the person to actually break, the entire crowd clapped their asses off because I made them cluck like a chicken.
Dude, that would have been awesome. I would love to see that. That would be hilarious. Be like, yes, you will clap. You will clap right now. And you will clap and cluck like a chicken. And yeah, oh my gosh. Like, that's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I would be so happy to see that.
Oh, it was nothing particularly special. I mean, it was just a little NLP. Didn't even have to touch it.
Right? Literally. The practical side of it, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And of course, in our chat room, already blowing up, mostly because my sister's in it, and allowing her near anything flammable is usually dangerous.
Ah, she has an explosive personality, no?
Oh, our beloved lady who runs Project Sister in Need on Bad Habits Network, Cody, the drunken Cinderella herself.
Yay! I'll give her some claps.
And then Hammer, who isn't joining us today, but he's there in spirit and in the chat room, and who didn't get first this time.
Dude, but he's taking us, remember, he's leading from behind, so that's good.
It's a start.
Right. To start.
Sometimes you have to push, not pull.
Right? Right?
So,
Oh my gosh.
so today's
That's
episode is the beloved title of Consulting H.M.F.I.C. That is head motherfucker in charge. And okay, apparently I don't need a soundboard.
nice.
Davia's doing that for us. Yay.
Yay.
So Miss Davia, you wanted a one-on-one with me.
I did.
And one
I
that
made you
doesn't
do
involve my guitar
homework.
case.
Yes, right? It was actual homework.
Yeah, well, I did it.
You did fantastic. So for you, I want to know, like, what was the process? What did you get out of it? Because I'll explain to everybody what I had you do is, and we're still working on it. I'm having him map out his day. Let me know what's going on. And we're going to put them in the time segments into categories like need or have to do, must do, things that are important, want to do, and then other people's bullshit. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're time tracking you
Mm-hmm.
in the journaling process.
Right. And the journaling process is actually pretty easy. You kind of gave me those 4 sections, and it was fairly easy to kind of map it out. Granted, I kind of turned those 4 sections more into areas just to kind of rant about.
Right.
Which is in and of itself useful because I don't really vent all that often.
Right.
You know, impatience a thing.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I think I really got to give you credit on your homework, though, because you went really in depth with it. And that's kind of my goal is to have people, when they're doing this, they're vested in it. So, like, they're really being honest with themselves. It doesn't matter what I see. It's getting you into a space where you're being brutally honest. And you did fantastic.
Well, generally speaking, I am a brutally honest individual. That's why this is the only show where they can't scream at me when I do something horrific.
Right, right. I totally understand. Like for you, because you are so brutally honest, and that's obviously going to come through in your writing, like, did you feel that having that space to just kind of like vent and like blow your shit? I call it professional dumping. Do you feel like it was more beneficial for you writing, or was it the one-on-one and speaking that was more beneficial for you?
Honestly, I feel like it was 50-50 because
Okay.
both are fairly useful. I mean, I could talk to anyone about anything. It's usually not that difficult. It's just more along the lines of getting to the point of that conversation.
Right.
You know, because I can do social bullshit all fucking day long. That's easy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, back being a former sociopath, I kind of had to do that. So
Right.
it's like, yay, I don't want to deal with people, but I have to deal with people. I'm going to kill you,
Right.
I'm going to kill you. But no, we're going to talk about the weather.
Right. That surface, what I call the portrait, in that space, you're operating under the moniker of portrait of picture perfect professionalism. And it's very autonomous, very, it doesn't get much more surface than that. But, that's a hard thing to maintain for a long period of time.
Pretty much, yep.
Right.
And I can do that, and yeah, it does get irritating. And that was actually one of the things that usually leads to me having to go inpatient was no one actually willing to do any digging. And granted, it's also my fault for not saying, hey, I'm in a bad place.
Right.
When everyone is just usually accustomed to, looking out for friends and family and seeing, it's like, okay, are they showing any signs of stress or cracking or that I need to reach out to them?
Right.
The downside to that is when you're dealing with someone who is so accustomed to stress that they don't show it.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, oops.
Right. Well,
My bad.
and that's the part of it. Like when you're high vibe, high frequency, and you have like a lot of things going on, like within yourself, within like your friend group, within your workspace, like if you're not operating like what I call, like in your CEO centric mode, everything else swings out of whack. Because whether we want to admit it or not, and this isn't about being, like self grandiose or like, the reality is you are your business. It doesn't matter how big your business is. At the end of the day, however you're doing is going to have an effect on your business. And, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, it usually is difficult because you're having to function within a given space and you're not allowed or not able to function outside of that space because you're essentially closing off a major portion of your personality,
Right.
which is beyond detrimental.
For sure. I mean, it causes cracks. You ever see somebody that like they smile and they have like a twitchy face?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like it's, my goal behind doing what I really want to give all of you guys credit because, we're taking the help methodology and making it applicable in real life. And you're living examples, like if it works, how it could be improved. And like, how does this formulation for yourself really as a tool that I'm giving to you to use, whenever you need it, how does it benefit compared to sitting in an office, having to take out time to schedule an appointment for therapy, having to go over everything that's going on in your life right now, and then add your past. I mean, it gets to be monumentous. It's just like, what the hell? I just want to come in because I need to explode, but it's such an enormous process in which to do it. Like, do you feel since you've had clinical experience and you've had this version where sort of walking along beside you, how do you feel like it benefits or doesn't benefit? Like, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it.
Well, between this and clinical, I will definitely say I'll stick to this because the food's better. And I don't have this deep and dear desire to rewrite their damn menu because they decided to serve chicken Alfredo 2 meals in a row.
Right.
Hey, it's a thing, all right?
It's truth. Preach.
May not be everybody's thing, but it's my thing. It's like, yeah, no, this is what we're doing.
Right.
This is what we're doing. We're going to take the noodles. We're going to take the beef from barbecue beef sandwich because everything comes separate from them anyways, and we're going to put that together. We're going to make a gravy. We're going to throw in some mushrooms. We're going to make a beef stroganoff. We're going to take the Alfredo. We're going to take some macaroni. We're going to make macaroni and cheese because all that is a bechamel. You just got to dress it up a little bit better. And then we're going to take the chicken from the chicken Alfredo from the second meal with the barbecue earlier. We're going to do barbecue pulled barbecue chicken sandwiches to go with the mac and cheese for lunch tomorrow. Eat a dick. Thanks for coming out.
All right, for sure. Like that's the best way to put it. Like you put it in food terms, and I'm gonna put it in like, as a busy business owner, you don't fucking have time to go through the drama of being yes to death by a therapist who probably really doesn't care. You don't really have time to be focusing on why you're mad at your dad for, kicking her ass because you lit the garage on fire. Mm-hmm. It's all about empowering you with some tangible tools to take the pressure off of you, but also to address you in the moment you're in right now. Like kind of bring you up to speed.
Sorry, just responding to the chat room for a quick second.
That's cool.
One of our beloved bald brothers decided to ask, is like, hey, Dick, is that on the menu? And I'm like, it can be. It's a little salty and cream-filled, but you can eat it.
Right? Yeah, for sure. And it's an international delight.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
But you got to return the favor.
True. That no good deed goes undone.
Damn
Cannot
skipping.
not return it.
I know. It's one of my favorite things, too.
Right? Like, oh, I can't wait till that swings back and knocks you out. Oh, I don't have to do anything. I don't know. Like for me, that doing this, I've been doing like private one-on-ones, and like I don't like to call it therapy because clinical pop psychology is a really miserable task. This is like um really more of meeting you where you're at and helping you to get where you want to go without hemming you up. Um, I just, I had to make a decision. Am I going to go keep what I'm doing quiet, or am I going to go into clinical practice, or am I going to do nothing? And I had an opportunity to be a part of a book that launches Tuesday. I'll have the link.
Yay!
Yeah. And the editor, messaged me like, can I call you? And I'm like, okay. And she's like, Davey, you don't have a website. I was like, actually, I have lots of sites. She's like, no, for what you do. And I'm like, yeah, I know, because it's a referral only. Like, and it's been that way for 4 years. And she's like, well, I hate to tell you, when this book comes out, it goes bestseller and people are going to be looking for you. And I was like, oh my God. Like, oh no. Like, I thought I was doing it like good deed. And now, like, the thing that I sort of been nurturing for all this time is going to be exposed to the public. Like, what am I going to do?
You're gonna own that shit and take it,
Right?
and you're going to let it be a part of your life. And if it
Right?
just happens to be a part of your life that also helps pay for the other parts of the life, then good on you.
Right, for sure. I mean, it was a hard process, to kind of think like, all right, how am I going to do this? And my natural instinct was like, oh, just, if worst comes to worst, you'll go into a clinical setting. And I thought, oh my God, I don't want to sit behind a desk again. And I want to be able to give people radical honesty. Like, and you have to be careful when you're in a clinical setting, because,
Malpractice is a thing.
right. And some people can't take truth, even if it's their own truth.
Yeah, pretty much.
And, I think that the best thing about the HELP methodology is, if you're wanting to put the work in, you're going to be aware and open to hearing a little truth. Like, oh, I kind of knew that was coming, but then it holds you accountable, and you get to decide what you choose to do with that.
Essentially. Well, that was when I initially wanted to go. When I went to college after high school, because I had actually graduated high school with a 4.3 GPA, because my sophomore, junior, senior years, I basically took all AP classes, and
Nice.
I slept through them and still aced them.
Right?
And I went to college. I went to college originally for management computer systems. I wanted to run my own IT department. Gee, it's kind of what I do here.
Right?
And I have more fun. So anyways, I wanted to run my own IT department just because it was fun initially.
Mm-hmm.
However, the math, the coding, the language, all of it lost its beauty for me. It was just so goddamn boring. Let me put it this way. My first semester project, I taught the class to backdoor the teacher's computer.
Yeah.
I was bored. Leaving
Right.
me in boredom is not a good thing. It's a very bad idea. That's why it's awesome.
You're a system disruptor. Congratulations, right? Like that's the best part about this. I think that really the CEO-centric message is system disruption at its very core. Like, I don't want to be bored on the other side of the clipboard just typing your notes and giving you what you want to hear. Like, I'm here to tell you, at least as a business owner, like, shit's real. I get it. But unless the only person you can really bullshit on the planet is yourself. And we have to get people out of the place of being able to bullshit themselves and focus that energy in a more positive way.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that was kind of one of the breaking decisions for me was I had to look at it as, okay, I could still do management computer systems. It's a 5-year
Hmm.
fucking degree, but at the end of the degree, they, as part of your externship, you get
Right.
hired into a company already making
Right.
a little over 100K a year.
Hmm.
Or I could do something I was already doing, and I was actually quite happy with it, which was cooking.
Right.
You do not make 100K a year cooking, ever.
Unless you're a personal chef, no way.
Personal chef to God, maybe.
You'd be surprised. Like, just saying.
Yeah, no, I know there are exceptions that prove the rule, and that's fine, great, grand, and glorious. Good for them. That's not going to be me, because personal chef, the nanosecond someone says, well, could I get like a medium well-done steak? I'm going to hit them.
Right.
And then personal chef is now Bubba's personal salad tosser. While I'm sitting in lockup saying, oh no, today's not Valentine's Day, please not the makeup.
Right. Right. I didn't drop the soap. But in reality, like, that's the thing. That's a dichotomy, like being brilliant and like the thing that you like to do or what you love to do. It's that line, and it takes the bravery to hop over into I do what I love, what fuels me, and I don't measure my success in dollars. I measure it in quality of life.
Yeah, and honestly, I love cooking. I always have. I've loved food. Granted, I initially started to love cooking out of spite for my grandmother, but hey, she's the one who said, no, 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 I don't want you to give if you ever have any sons, none of them are to learn my recipes. So while I'm there in the kitchen and she's telling them this, and I'm like, bitch, I'm going to crack your chili recipe.
Right.
And then I did. And then she hit me.
Give you a good old dose of the backhand, huh?
Well, she used to be a silversmith and
Oh,
owned her own store. So she has jewelry cases of her own rings that when she actually clenches her fists together, they kind of pull a bullshitted pair of brass knuckles.
ah. I do know what that's like. When my mom was alive, my mom had like 2 to 3 rings on every finger, and it wasn't just plain, it was blinged out.
Mm-hmm.
So,
She was a
yeah,
cake and she had plenty of icing.
right, right. Like my mom was under 5 foot. She didn't get over 100 pounds, and I watched her pick my brother up by his throat at 6'2" and throw him across the kitchen, and then threw a pot of boiling hot spaghetti at him. So,
Been there.
right, right. And for me, I was like, yeah, I don't want to live that life. Like, and I don't want to be angry and bitter either.
Well, that's the thing. Was for a while I was angry and bitter with her, but to that end, I at one point also forgave her because, for one, I don't need that bullshit in my life, and
Right?
two, it was how she grew up. It's how she was raised. That's how she ran things.
Right?
Yes, it sucks, and it's not necessarily right, but
Hmm.
move on with the universe.
Right? Exactly. I mean, for me, like, I had my mom. Well, first it went my biological father. He was not a good man. Um, and I reconnected with him. I helped him pass away well. I helped my stepfather pass away well, and then I helped my mother pass away well. And just understanding like where they all came from and the dysfunction, like it wasn't. They did the best that they could, and just giving them peace and forgiveness helped them all to pass away really well, very quickly. Um, and now that I'm learning that I have family, um, it's just given me a different perspective on life completely.
Well, it's important to forgive people. I mean, yeah, you may never forget, and your life may change because of it, and
Right.
your relationship, however much or however little it actually is, may change because of it. But forgiveness is a thing.
Right. Right. It's crucial, dude. It's like poison in your soul.
Yeah, and it's not just for them, but it's also for you because, as you said, it's poison in your soul. You're carrying that pain with you everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't need to
Yep.
do that. Life sucks enough as it is.
Shit, yeah. Especially with Friendsgiving and Thanksgiving and givings. It's about gratitude.
Hmm.
And, the thing I've noticed about adult bullies is that, and like, people who do doxing and like just keyboard warriors is like they really try to hone in on people and wear them down. But if you're in a good place with yourself and like you have a positive mindset and like you're just not about that, you're not going to waste any time on them. Like they'll keep trying, but you can turn your worst enemies and those that just like prey on you into your best source of free advertisement.
Well, that kind of goes with our Rule 11, as you. I,
Yes.
I
Print
don't
it
know.
out.
Well, those particular rules aren't necessarily in. A lot of them are in order, but some of them aren't.
Okay.
Our Rule 11 is thanks for the download.
Yes.
Doesn't matter how much of a pain in the ass someone is. Doesn't matter if they're fucking trolling you in your chat room. Doesn't matter if they're saying they're going to be over in a few minutes as soon as they grab clothes because they want to do their
Right.
own show later on. Cody, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter
Right.
if you break up with someone after a soul-shredding divorce. It doesn't matter if whatever the situation is learn something from it
Right.
and then thank them for the download.
For sure. For sure. That's so crucial. And like I think it takes all kinds in order to make the world go round. So they're serving their purpose. And they probably don't get any deeper than that, or maybe they are some of those people that are still mad at their dad. But you can eclipse them by not bothering to pay them no mind. Thank them for the download, but keep it moving.
Well, that's Rule
Keep
13. Show goes on. Always.
Yes, always. And you can hire it out. Like if social media drives you crazy in your business and like those interactions with the trolls and the haters drive you bonkers, the best thing you can do is get a virtual assistant or get an AI software that you can do scheduling and let that post up on your social media. And then if it's something you really want to share or you want to connect with your fans, your audience, your friends, whatever, then go live because it's more impactful that way as well. So you don't have the drama of seeing what everybody's saying or the chaos that's going around. You're still interacting and you get to control that chaos.
Gee, controlled chaos. Not like I'm used to that every damn day.
Right.
Well, as you pointed out in the homework that you gave me, you wanted me to at least categorically write down everything that I do in a day.
Right.
At least try to do as much as I can.
Right.
So for a lot of people, that's fairly feasible. It's not necessarily difficult to do.
Nope.
My particular day is somewhat packed.
Yeah.
To give you an idea, because you and I were texting while I was at work yesterday, because I have to be
Right.
on my phone all day, every day anyways, even though I'm not a head chef, I still got to deal with my own prep, still have to deal with making sure my orders are taken in place, so I have to actually check in with our new head chef and with my kitchen manager. And I have to babysit our new head chef because I'm the former H.M.F.I.C that's training the new H.M.F.I.C.
Right.
Granted, there's not much to do because, well, whatever. So, in an hour and a half, my first hour and a half while I was at work, we cooked 65 orders. I personally did 3 different soups: a French onion soup, a cream of butternut squash, and a tomato basil. Mind you, this is all scratch.
Right.
If you have no idea how to do any of those from scratch, Google that shit, then upscale it to about 5 gallons. Okay, to put it this way, to do French onion soup,
Mm-hmm.
takes about 3 pounds of onions.
Wow.
And you gotta thinly slice them motherfuckers. And you have to sweat those bastards. And then you have to build a broth off of those bastards. And then add a little brandy because it's epic.
Nice. That's impressive, man. I can't make that from scratch. I'm not even gonna lie. But that being said,
That was the first
like,
half hour. I still have another hour of prep to go. And more cooking.
right? Like, that's the thing. Like, and reading your journal entries and just understanding, like, how your work is going. I mean, you have a lot of people that are codependent on you because they're not thinking, you know, they're not really thinking it through. And that, you know, that doesn't, I can't imagine that would work well in a kitchen, you know.
It does and it doesn't, because in a kitchen, especially in the back of the house, well, in a restaurant period, everyone has to function as a family.
Right.
Every individual gear needs to be working towards the common goal, which is getting food to the customer and making sure they have a good experience.
Right.
All right? Takes a lot of wheels to get anything moving. It takes a lot of hard work. And then once it is working, you can't stop. Because if it does stop, shit hits the fan really fast.
I was going to say pretty damn fast. Yeah.
It's like having a car full of garbage and you're doing 90 miles an hour and 90 and then you have to slam on the brakes. Yeah, it's that kind of day.
Yeah, it's like being out in the battlefield, man. Seriously, just in a food, you know, background. Like you gotta get shit going. You gotta get it right, and you gotta get it out. People don't, you know, people want what they want when they want it.
Pretty much. You know, if that person wants a well done steak, it doesn't matter how much I really, really, really want to go out there and stab them. I have to do it, and it sucks.
Right.
But I have to do it. That poor cow.
You're like, here's your destruction of your food because you have no idea how much better it could be, but here you go. Yeah.
Well, there are some people I am aware of that actually need something like that well done, like my ex-girlfriend, ex-wife. Her and I were together for 12 years. She grew up vegetarian.
Okay.
You know, it's just she didn't want to eat meat. You know, she had nothing against it, just didn't want to. Downside was, in her middle of her teen years, she grew insanely anemic, and basically still is.
Right.
So she had a choice between getting a shot in the ass every week to try to get her iron up, or she could eat meat.
Eat meat.
Problem was, because she had never eaten meat before in her life, she had never developed the enzyme to eat anything less than well done.
Oh, yep.
Now, there are bits and pieces where I'm actually proud of her, because when it comes to, like, you know, just bullshit steaks, she'll get it well done, or she'll just won't order it at a restaurant. She'll make it herself at home because she realizes how much that makes people want to kill people. But where I am proud of her is that when we did go out to eat for a couple of times, yeah, she will order that fucker medium rare because, you know what, she will suffer through the pain. For awesome. And it's like, fantastic woman, I love you. Yeah, even after all the bullshit, I still love that bitch.
Right. That's loyalty, man. I mean, and like, you know, really in my mind, doing this help process, at least with you, where my goal is at, is to help you sort of become more aware, like in the front part of your brain, like structuring your time and where it ranks on importance. That being said, in doing the journaling, that venting allows you to take all of the things that have gone on in your day and sort of get them off your chest and onto paper.
Pretty much.
You
And
know,
and that was kind of what the journal was helping me do, was getting this shit out of my head, where, you know, normally I'll just store it in the back for later and
right?
let that, you know, turn into a pus-filled polyp in my colon to be carved out later in my 40s.
Well, right, we're gonna undo that
Yeah, pretty much.
because you're starting to activate instead of supplement,
Well,
and
that's the general idea. That's partially one of the reasons why I love Axio and why I'm stealing my bag back from Hammer.
gotta love that Axio, gotta love that Nerf,
Mm-hmm.
Nerf 2, you
Nerf.
know, Nerf 2, Nerf 2.
It's like, just crack
And
that fucker in a glass of lemonade and I'm happy.
exactly. Well, I like using my Soda Stream,
Mm-hmm.
and like it does make a hell of a mess sometimes, but you know, I stopped for the most part drinking soda. So, but I do need the carbonation because of how my anatomy's left. I don't have a stomach anymore, so I really need to belch, and like that's the best way to do it. So it's like belching with purpose and like activating my body, you know, and it's pretty cool. I do have to say. So for like us, like as we're moving through this process, for people that don't kind of know what's going on, the guys had me come on the Bad Habits Network, talk about what I call the HELP methodology, and we'll figure out how we're going to take this, and we're going to offer it to people in an ebook version here pretty soon. We're just getting all of the cogs in the system going, but it's a real tangible method that you can use to run an internal diagnostic with yourself daily, weekly, monthly, whatever you need, just to get back into perspective and back on track. It's really tangible steps. So the first part, just to keep it really simple, the H part is all about really holding on, stopping what you're doing and being present in the moment, celebrating yourself and letting go of unrealistic expectations. The E part is it's literally doing an examination of yourself. There's a couple different writing prompts. It just depends on what you choose to do with them. The L part is what Michael's doing right now, which is listing it out literally. And in doing that, the other steps become much easier. And after these 2 weeks, we'll head over to the P part, which is the permission to succeed. And just like we encourage other people in business to do amazing things, we also need to give ourselves that sort of permission to succeed as well. Because a lot of times there isn't a cheering section. And so it's about getting you up, getting you aware, getting you fired up and ready to just rock out every single day.
Well, that's kind of the point. It's, you have to rock that shit. You have to take control of your life. As
Right?
chaotic as it may be, you can shape that chaos into what you need it to be. It's anyone who's raised kids knows you can shape chaos.
Definitely. Well, and the brilliant part about it is there's no, come here, my latest shiny method, or, pop funk psychology and ridiculous methods that gobble up your time. It's like, look, we're just stripping it back to the reality of it. Like if you've created your own business, everything you need is already within you.
Mm-hmm.
And the more people, places, and things that try to pull you out of that, the more you're going to get stuck in the weeds.
Yeah, pretty much. You have to keep going. You have to keep pushing. Even if it's in the middle of a Black Friday fucking fish fry, even if your even if your board is completely full of 20 tops and you've got tickets pouring out of the machine, you have to keep pushing out food. The nanosecond you stop, it all ends. You might as well just pack up the restaurant, tell everyone thanks for coming out, drinks are on them, and walk out.
Right, exactly. Well, and here's the deal, with the way that technology and the interwebs are becoming the forefront.
Davia, you're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Give it a second. Better?
Is that better?
A little bit.
Okay. I'll move back to my other location. I just lost track for a second.
Taking control of chaos, internet being a thing.
So as this, I'm going to talk to my kid. I need you to go downstairs and take care of that, please, the dog. Yep. So as we're moving towards this fully functional digital, really just being online more and more, and AI is a part of our life. In business, to supplement you not being so bogged down, the other component of what sort of CEO-centric's looking to do is to create solutions or connect people with tangible people, places, and things that will solve your pain points.
That's the difference between supplement and activate.
Activate, yeah.
When you supplement something, you're basically adding onto your plate. By the very definition of supplementing, you're taking something to make up for something else and hoping that it's going to take the weight off. Or you can activate and handle your own shit. And if that means you need to delegate things that are on your plate, then get on with it, as Miss Davia told her munchkin to take care of the damn dog.
Yeah. Literally. Mm-hmm. Literally. And it's about, no fluff, no fillers, no bullshit. Technology doesn't have feelings.
'Tis nothing good nor evil, thinking only makes it so.
Exactly. And if you can automate a lot of your processes or have software that can handle outreach, it's about freeing up your time so you can really maximize on the business end, but also recapture some time for yourself or things you want to do, and really just making the most out of what's out there, because old school rules really don't apply. I know lots of people that are closing down their brick and mortar business in a variety of different professions, and they're choosing to step into the digital marketplace, and that's a scary transition. Speaking for myself, especially, taking a one-on-one approach and scaling it to, the entire world is a huge prospect. And what I think in my mind and what I'm learning is a lot of things that I never could have imagined are possible, and they can be automated, or content can be created to where there's a specific spot where people can access it all the time, and the message keeps going, because it's really not about me. It's about this goal of trying to keep people engaged, on fire, in love with what they're doing and activated.
Yeah, just like I do. I don't necessarily... The restaurant isn't about me. It's not about any of my other cooks. It's not about my head chef, my manager. It's not about the front of house. It's not about any of us. It's about the customer. It's about making sure they get their food. It's awesome, and they have a good experience. Yes. And you have to be willing to step back from that and lead from the back and push out that food, and making sure that everyone else is pushing out to get their shit done. Now, Obviously, I can't run the entire restaurant myself. Well, I could, but I don't want to.
Right.
So we delegate. That's why we have back of house managers. That's why we have front of house managers. That's why you go through hiring processes, training processes, making sure that these people are okay to do what you need to do on their own. You're teaching them to activate themselves.
Right. And it's about giving real up-to-date information too. For example, I've kept all the marketing emails, people who do copywriting, everything. The people I've been keeping in contact with for about 10, 12 weeks now. And just like they vary in price, the quality varies. And I'm finding that a lot of people that are they are professed marketing professionals, they're really giving antiquated information. And I'm not comfortable. If I'm not comfortable with it, that's really, really sad because tech is my kryptonite. You know, my goal is to, cut out all the overwhelming processes and people trying to say, oh, this or this works. It's like, we're going to give you a listing of real solutions to solve your pain points. And we're not going to send you on a wild goose chase. It's like, here's your particular pain point. This is what you're struggling with. And then you can click right through and get directly into that right person, place, or thing that solves that pain point problem for you. So you don't waste a lot of time, energy, resources, headspace, and frustration on antiquated things.
Yeah. It's like...
smarter, not harder.
Well, yeah, it's like obviously, well, for one, my menu is gigantic. It's a 46-item menu plus pizzas, which is batshit crazy.
Yeah.
All right, there is a unholy amount of prep work that goes into that. Now, to that end, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. We all have different abilities for time management. We all can do different things different ways. Mm-hmm. So when I do that, I'm not going... all right, my case, I'm the meat guy. Meat side, grill side is my thing. Yes, I can do soups, and yes, they are fire, but that's mostly because I give a fuck about them, and I've worked on the recipes for a while. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm the second oldest person in the kitchen, so I actually literally have the time put in to know this shit. That being the case, my new head chef, he's 27 years old. He's put in his time in the restaurant industry, and his soups are fucking fire, and he wants to take over that. I'm like, okay.
Right?
You want to do... You're the H.M.F.I.C. I'm just teaching you how to do the thing, making sure that you're not walking into hell. Because you are, so at least you're not doing it barefoot, which you might be, so good luck.
Good looking out, right? Good looking out. Like, who's to the left and who's to the right of you?
Yeah. So it's like, okay, what you're going to want, you want me on the grill on our busy days. You can stick me wherever. I can function anywhere in the kitchen. That's fine. But grill side is my baby. Meat is my thing. I can break down anything that walks, swims, crawls, does fucking cartwheels. I can fucking do it. Mm-hmm. All right. I'm pretty fucking fast when it comes to vegetable prep. Most of my shit's fairly uniform. Fine dicing I'm not the greatest at, but hey, fuck you. That being the case, our kitchen manager, that man is fucking epic when it comes to veggie prep. I mean, when he does fruit and vegetable displays, it's art on a tray.
Beautiful.
And it's like, okay, you're going to want him to do that. And generally speaking, we don't want him on the line. Well, why wouldn't we want the kitchen manager on the line? Because he gets frustrated easily. He is an insanely creative person. However, that creativity doesn't stop. So when he tries to reinvent the quesadilla in the middle of fucking service, I kind of want to hit him with something.
For sure.
That being the case, our sous chef, he like me, is pretty good anywhere in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. Just like me. You know, he's not as good as I am on the grill, but he seems to think he is. And it's like, oh, really? Okay, then how come I can get my doneness within 2 degrees and you can't get it within 15?
Ah.
It's like, well, it's still medium. it was supposed to be medium rare. Oh. That being the case, he is fantastic at running the wheel. Nothing shakes this guy when he's calling the wheel. So it's like, that's where you want him. And yes, we can change it up from week to week depending on what we need to do. It's not that difficult. You know? It's just a matter of getting the shit done.
Seriously, and that crosses over, like, to use the food analogy. Like, for me, I know where my jam is at. Like, I don't want to be running a clinical practice. I don't, I'm really about empowering other people. I want to be the person that, like, if you're calling me to do a one-on-one, it's because you definitely need to get some things off your chest, or you need another tool in order which to, like, start implementing, or you need some clarity. Like, that's the idea, is for me to be able to offer the help methodology, any of the books. This is all a labor of love, but it frees me up to be available when people need me the most. Do I understand tech? Nope. But like, here's a plug for Geek Daddy Solutions. You speak geek.
A bit.
I need a translator. And I'm always going to keep saying that the Bad Habits Network family has been the biggest source of, like, fear for me, because I expected to be crucified. But then it's been the greatest source of, positive feedback, ideas, collaboration, and it sets the tone. No, I'm not blowing you guys. Like, if it wasn't for you.
Shit, I thought that was my
phone was on.
Damn it.
Nice try.
Sorry, Davia.
It's cool, bro. I'm not a pole smoker. Like, I'm being honest. And that's one thing about me.
I know, but I would have worded that a hell of a lot more politely.
You can't make it polite.
Yes,
like,
I can.
I'm not pole smoking, you guys. I'm literally, especially.
No. When we say that, we mean that in a, you do honestly love us. If we thought you were blowing smoke up our ass, we would call you on it in half a heartbeat.
I'd be on the show.
That
yes,
too.
you would. Dude, I told you that story, Hammer. Like, going on the first time, I expected, like, you expect, like, Gary and I have this sort of relationship where I expect him to light me on fire. If he gets a whiff of, like, this shit ain't right, he's gonna, like, it needs to be brought to attention. And taking my message, like, out on a bigger scale, that's a risk. But for me, it was like, who better to bring it in front of than people that already understand, like, your body can be fine-tuned like a computer. And this is just another way to really get the maximum impact of activating your life.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, as I'm now a little embarrassed.
Cool. It's cool, dude. It's cool.
Yeah, I know, but anyways, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's about getting people in places and the right things and using their strengths. All right, fine. You're not exactly the most technologically advanced person in the universe. That's great, grand. Yeah, Hammer's not wrong, neither are we. But that doesn't mean we don't all have our individual strengths. And, there's no reason you can't do that. And as you pointed out, you walked into BHN, or walked on, and you had certain expectations. You figured, we were going to kind of treat you a certain way, but we didn't, because that's not who we are. That's not what we do.
No, of course that's not what you do. But you expect those closest to you, like, you expect, like, your brother to rib you in the eye, just because it desensitizes you from being ribbed in the eye again if it happens. And it really has been the catalyst that's really transforming CEO-centric as it's building to be really a great source of networking, strategy, collaboration, Yes, the therapy part. Yes, the tuning into yourself, but it's more of like a cooperative, and it's for CEOs, built by CEOs, because we all know what we need best in order to sort of maintain that balance.
Well, that's essentially what BHN is.
Yep.
All of us are showrunners, essentially. You know, our beloved sister has her show coming up here in a bit, Project Sister in
Okay.
Need. You know, what's a sister need? Depends on her day, depends on her mood, depends on her bad habit. You know, we
Right.
have Hammer, who's our H.M.F.I.C, who, you know, he has his shots from the balcony and Hammer approved. I'm Geek Daddy. I've got Geek Daddy Solutions.
Mhm.
We've got Gremlin and Johnny, who run Blown Pistons. We've got Ken Andrews, who comes in for a Peregrinus show.
Mhm.
You know, we all run our things and we all work together as
Mhm.
not only CEOs but cooperative CEOs.
Yes. And that's the future of the economy as it's moving forward. It's the ability to be so in tune with yourself and so comfortable with yourself and honest with yourself, and you're working this methodology, that you're in a space to be able to be like, wow, I know what I'm great at. I'm on fire about it. I'm aware of what I suck at. And you can be seeking out cooperative and strategic relationships, partnerships, that kind of thing, to come in and just really, people can offset each other in a great way, to where it's like these new partnerships, these new opportunities are creating amazing things. It's just that it becomes like a culture of giving. It's quality relationships. It's both. Both business owners are walking away inspired, fueled, maybe even getting new ideas, and it's just a place of much needed oasis in a sea of, fluff fillers and bullshit and self-appointed gurus and people that really don't necessarily have your best interest at hand. Even as a business owner, they just want to make money off of you. They don't they hear you, but they're not listening, and so they're going to sell you this package of garbage you probably will never use, much less understand how to operate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that one more thing on your plate that it's like, you know what? I've changed my mind. I just want to walk away from my business because that other part is just too much.
Does being fantastic at offending people count?
Yes, yes, it does. The world needs sarcastic bastards and people that can,
Yeah, they're called lawyers.
really even lawyers, comedians. Um,
Canadians? They're nice, though.
no, yeah, Canadian. No, some Canadians aren't. I've had some strange interactions. But comedians, I mean, they do it in a humorous way, but it's a mirror in which to reflect the situations going on.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, you're absolutely right in that everyone needs to work together, and you need to surround yourself with people who are willing to work together. Like, between front of house and back of house, I should not be allowed near people, for the love of Christ. Especially when I'm busy and multitasking, I know my personality
Right.
flips and I turn into a raging asshole. Well, not so
Mm-hmm.
much raging as the filter just stops because I don't have time to
Yep.
filter everything.
Right.
So, something that I do for my servers every day. It's when I come in, I clean my grill. That's the very first thing I do every fucking day because I don't care even if it looks spotless. I don't care. I want a clean grill at the beginning of the day.
Right.
So after I do that, you need to season the grill so everything doesn't stick to it because that sucks a lot. So I season it by cooking bacon because bacon is awesome. And what I'll do is I will cook a rather large amount of bacon, about a third of which I'll keep for soup. About another quarter of it I will keep for just to have bacon, or a half of that I will keep for bacon on the line. Then the other 20% I will put on a plate and put by the pass on the front of house side, so the servers have something to munch on. Because otherwise they'll come in on the line and steal bacon. And it's like, no, I don't need you on the line. I need you outside dealing with people and keeping me away from them. So here's bacon as a reward.
Yeah. Right. That's so smart. You know what I mean? Like, I love it. And for me, it's like, just getting to meet other people, like as this is sort of coming out into the light, um, the ability to say that this can be completely done as a cooperative to where, you know, as it's evolving, it's taking on, you know, our core, I would like to say our core group, all of our own personalities, but the solutions that we're finding, the things that are working, and, you know, offering a hand out, not a handout, a hand up to other CEOs so they don't have to find themselves struggling in the same place. I just got a really shocking email today from somebody I really respect. I'm not going to mention his name or his website. It was a blistering tear apart of my signature speech. It was a blistering tear apart of my physical appearance. It was, you know, it was really brutal. It was really brutal. I have legit respect for this man. Um, and it just shows me that, some people still have a lot of ignorant predispositions to judging people.
Yeah.
And
If it's
yeah,
something about your particular past or the way you look, as you pointed out, they assume certain things. Like,
oh,
it's once again like you had expectations when you walk into a kitchen. People, or when you walked onto BHN, a lot of people have the same expectations everywhere they go. It's kind of how
mm-hmm,
the human mind works. That way we can judge quickly whether something's safe or not.
right. Well, and here's the deal, I would hate, and I think that's my personality, and that's been such a blessing. Just depending on anything that I've ever done, it's, I'm not really judging a person from the outside, like their why and what they do is what fascinates me. Why did you start your company? What point in your life did you hit that fork in the road where you're like, either I'm going to, tear this shit all down, or I've decided to like go ahead and be successful. And for me, that's just like, that's so affirming. And I take the criticism with appreciation, but I'm not going to scrub my tattoos off. And it is what it is. The people that get this message, that get this methodology, that get, like, as business and communication and life is changing, those are the people that are going to advance, and they're going to see their businesses scale. They're going to see, a lot of major transformations, quick wins, but major transformations for them through the process.
Well, as we've both kind of touched on here and there in our various conversations and on here today, we shouldn't
Mm-hmm.
have to change ourselves to be functional within society. It shouldn't work like that. What we should do as CEOs is just simply surround ourselves with the ability to function where we need to be. It's like I'm in a couple of chef groups on Facebook, and
Mm-hmm.
one of the questions that came up was, should there be music in a kitchen? And, some restaurants are like, hell no, they need to concentrate on the food. Other restaurants are, yes, there needs to be fucking music. And you know what? That's perfectly fine, great, grand, and wonderful. My kitchen, there's music. All of us listen to a wide variety of things. Granted, 3 of them listen to rap constantly, and it gets old. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not bad. It's kind of elsewise grown on me, and what we do is we just split the radio.
Right.
And if someone's like, dude, could I get it today? It's like, sure, whatever. And, I'm not going to judge them based on their music. I'm not going to judge them based on how they look because, we're all in this together. We are all
Yeah.
alive together. We all have to live together. We all have to function together. If you feel I need to change to suit your life, eat a dick. Thanks for coming out.
Mhm.
Thanks for
Exactly.
the download. I'm
For
not going
sure.
I'm not going to change me
Right.
because you. Now, am I going to apologize if I happen to do something that I feel offended you?
Mhm.
Sure. I'm going to own my shit. That's rule one. That being said, if you're going to see my Frankenstein tattoos on my left arm while I'm cooking in the kitchen, you're going to be like, oh my god, Frankenstein was such a scary monster. You should cover that up. No. You got feet. You can walk away.
Right.
There's nothing offensive at all about my tattoos. In point of fact, the ones on my left arm, they're all actually rather personal to me. I have my favorite quote from Paradise Lost. In its own thing, the mind can. Shit, now I can't remember it. The
It'll
mind,
come to you.
the mind is its own place. In it can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven.
Yep.
All right, I've got the SFTB tagline. Get on with it on there. I'm going to
Yes.
have my father's feathers tattooed on my arm because he had his feathers tattooed in the exact same place, and I kind of want to honor that.
Mhm. Oh, for sure.
My
And like,
tattoos are part of my life. They are representative of parts and pieces of my life, just like they are for damn near everybody else. Whether if it's just for the artistic factor or life stories or whatever, it doesn't matter. They are part of me. And in and of itself, if you feel that I need to change something about that, even though there is nothing explicitly offensive about it, fuck your feelings. Rule 6. There's a reason it exists.
exactly. Well, and here's the deal. Like, the more and more I think about it, it's like, you know, that being judged on what they call the signature talk, or the scale, the stage signature speak. I had 3 minutes to convey a message, and that was a challenge for me that I decided to take, um, because I had never thought about creating a signature talk. Um, can it be improved? Oh, yes, it can. But the context of the message is not going to change. And for me, my tattoos on my hand, those are a reminder of strength, survival, because I went through several years of horrible domestic violence. Um, and those were done to celebrate, taking the courageous step to, um, not only speak in front of, the person who tried to end my life, but also the person who hurt a young girl. And I'm proud of my tattoos. Each one of them are a reminder, whether it's, 9/11, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Enduring Dawn. Like, all of those are the visual representation that no matter what, I've always survived. And to change any of that about myself would make what I'm doing right now super inauthentic. And this message and methodology is not for everybody. If you can get anything out of it, fantastic. But we really want to be, casting our net for the people who want to live fully activated, um, and freed up to do what they love. And, they don't, they just don't have time to play games or to work in antiquated methods. It takes a village to build an idiot, and I'd like to have a lot of idiots running around, because that means the village has done a fantastic job.
Well, that's pretty much the point. It's we all have our strengths, we all have our weaknesses. We're all human. So get on with it.
Right, right. And, I expect to see a lot more negative reaction from people in the same sort of niche as mine. Um, but the difference between me and them is my education is on my wall, and I'm constantly investing in my education and best practices and taking on new methodologies, because when I adapt and acquire more efficient skill sets, it works in a way of helping everybody under the umbrella to have the best sort of one-on-one calls that they need, whatever they're for, because I can get to the crux of the position, get the crux of the situation pretty quickly, give you the tangible solutions and let you run with it. And then you just, you just come back to me and we have a jam session, and then you go out. And if, you're never alone, you're never on this journey alone. And I'm here, but I'm serving you from a place of making sure that I'm available when you need me the most. Not like, oh man, I have to do this damn one-on-one, or I have to do a dump session, or we're having a 30-minute review over kind of like the homework or the step. It's like, I don't want you to dread that. I want you to look forward to it and be like, oh my God, dude, right now, ready to go. Look at everything, and to celebrate with you, like, yeah, man, that's great. Getting clarification and then seeing how I can best help you.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's exactly what the entire service industry does. We help everybody.
Right.
And and every industry in and of itself is a service. We all
Yes.
serve something else. We all serve this greater machine called life.
Yes. And we want to have people on our ship who get it. Like, if we're all in the same sort of like, we get it. It's life. Life is hard, whatever, but we're dedicated towards this sort of mission and being cooperative and, collaborating, inspiring, activating people. It really takes on a life of its own. And I look forward to just all the amazing things that are going to come from it. Who would have thought? The little tiny book and a couple of scary phone calls and jumping onto the podcast, really shoved me in the direction to where, like, yeah, this is happening, and it's going to be beautiful, and it's going to be a labor of love, where we're all benefiting.
Pretty much. That's exactly what it all winds up down to. It's we all have to love what we do, and we get on with it.
Dude, and I feel the most happy and the most on fire when I'm getting feedback that what I'm doing is helping you. I'm not hindering you. I'm, that this works, and it works well for you. Like I said, Bad Habits Network, I'm just going to keep plugging it because it's always going to be in the ethos of the story of the evolution of CEO centric.
No, that's the whole goal. And speaking of goals, it's time we get on to our other goals for the day. So, So of course, on behalf of everyone at BHN and everyone, Davia, thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for letting me do this one-on-one with you on air.
Yes, thank you for being courageous and honest and open. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and Friendsgiving.
No. Of course. Well, more fucksgiving than Friendsgiving, because today's the day we spend time with people we actually give a fuck about, because I don't care about my in-laws because, hey, I don't have any anymore. Ah!
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally. There's a lot of empty seats around our table, but I have a feeling maybe next year Thanksgiving won't be so tiny.
Well, we'll get on with it and we'll make it work. So,
right on.
Davey, you got anything else to say?
No, I really don't. I just, if you're interested in booking a one-on-one, you can email me, simplydavia@gmail.com. And we, I really have a 4-week goal towards getting at least the basics to our platform rolled out.
Well, definitely see what we can all work together.
Right on.
So, on behalf of everyone, Geek Daddy, Hammer, the drunken Cinderella who's upstairs doing shenanigans that makes me worry, and the Dr. Dreammaker that we get to call upon. Yes, that's why I'm calling you Dr. Dreammaker.
I like that. That's awesome.
All right. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later, everybody. Bye-bye.